So, who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
I'm Blair, King Blair. I'm a personal trainer. I have been for coming up 12 years now. I had a bit of an unfortunate accident, we'll call it, which resulted in a pretty horrendous leg injury 8-9 years ago, which has sort of put the brakes on a lot of things that I enjoyed doing or wanted to do and things like that. And yeah, I've as a personal trainer myself, I've tried my own ways to sort of rehabilitate and get around it and get on with things that I was told I wouldn't be able to do again. Some of which has worked, a lot of which has not. So yeah, I was just sort of at a dead end where I was just going to consultants and surgeons and just being told time and time again that I was going to need this surgery and that surgery and rah. So,
and what was the injury and what did it sort of stop you doing?
So I jumped, basically, long story short, I jumped from a roof in South America and I snapped my leg and shattered the ankle. It was operated on in Peru in South America, but it then resulted in an infection and things like this, which I didn't know until I was back in Australia. So I had bone grafts and muscle grafts and all sorts to try and remove the infection and whatever. Over the course of about 18 months, I think I had 5 or 6 surgeries. So yeah, it ended up becoming a lot bigger deal than it should have been because of infections and things like that. So that's where the complication came in. But yeah, I was a professional rugby player when it happened, and that was obviously taken away from me completely, and so it just sort of put me back to square one and didn't know what to do with life after that.
Yeah. So. And what was it like having that change? Because you jump off a roof, so in a 5-minute span, you've gone from pro rugby player, run a lot, hang out with your mates, to 18 months bad surgery, plus however many years it's been.
Yeah, it was a bitter pill to swallow. And to be honest, in the beginning, I was in a lot of denial. I just thought, athletes break bones all the time. The injuries happen all the time. I thought, 6 months, 12, worst case scenario, I'll be back on the rugby field. And it was just one thing after another, complication after complication. So in the beginning, I was quite optimistic. But then as things keep happening with the infection and having this frame thing on and having to re-break my leg because it was fixed wonky, and it was just one thing after another. So yeah, as the longer the time went by, the more it sort of just became completely debilitating and demoralizing. And I started to accept that, yeah, I'm not the athlete I once was, and I probably never will be again. And that was a slippery slope then. My mindset and mentality and everything just started going backwards. I couldn't go and watch rugby. I couldn't go watch my mates. I struggled to watch it on TV. It was just, yeah, to go from being in the pinnacle of my fitness and the best shape of my life to being bedridden and hospital bound for almost 18 months was tough, more so mentally than physically. Yeah. So,
who did you work with in that period? So it's been 18 months of infection, all of that. Then 5 years.
Yeah, about six years.
Yeah. So have you worked with surgeons, physios, chiropractors? What have you tried?
I had a little bit of post-surgery rehabilitation in Australia, but not a lot. I think I went to maybe 4 sessions, which didn't serve much of a purpose at all, really. And then I moved to the UK in 2019. So I went to a GP almost straight away, got signed up, but then I got put on waiting lists and things for about 2 years. So I didn't actually see anyone. And it was obviously COVID and everything as well. So I was put to the back of any lists because it wasn't an emergency. So to be honest, I haven't really worked with anyone. I've gone to see the odd, I went and saw the NHS physio after my last surgery, which was almost a complete waste of time. But other than that, I've really just tried to rehab it and do it myself, which to no avail, really. Yeah.
What did you find was different then? If you've not worked with someone, you've worked with me for probably the first person you really worked with.
Yeah.
So how did you find that experience? Was it what you thought it'd be like? Was it worse? Why did it work?
It's an interesting one with you, Di, because you had conversations with me prior about how you thought that you could help me and things. And because I was told for years on end that, no, this is what it is, and this is the state of it, and this is what it's going to be moving forward, I'd just come to accept that, and that was wrong of me. I wasn't open to hearing you out. But but from persistence and having, you know, chats, I sort of understood where you were coming from, and in the beginning was sort of taking a chance, you know, if you will, like rolling the dice one last time was sort of what it was for me, because I was like, I've tried what I think is everything else, and nothing's happened. But what you're saying is making sense, so I wanted to try it out. And yeah, does that sort of answer the question? Or
yeah, there's no correct answer.
Yeah,
it's just persistence, and you were just so, because I guess as a coach yourself, you're like, I know how to program, I know how to move.
Yeah.
What are you going to teach me?
Well, this was it. Like I was stubborn in that regard, and that, you know, I've tried myself for 8 odd years, and nothing seems to be getting me anywhere with it. So what are you going to tell me that's any different? You know what I mean? So there was an element of naivety, I guess, on my part.
Then we very quickly sorted your ego out with your drills.
Yeah,
shut you up in the studio.
yeah. So like. Yeah, that signing on with you was a little part of me always sort of knew that you were right in what you were saying, but also I was like stubborn in that I'd tried my hardest and I'd gotten nowhere with it, and I was having doctors and this and that tell me this is what it was. So I'd sort of just made up my mind without actually giving it a chance, and that wasn't right. So,
and then so you said it was a roll of the dice. We've had 12 sessions. It's taken 2.5, 3 months. At what point did you decide, if it's happened, this was the right decision, or this is going to work? Do you remember that incident?
Well, there's 2 answers to this really. But basically, in the very first session, I didn't necessarily know this is going to work, but I instantly knew that I was going to improve.
Some progress we made.
So, based on things that you were doing with me, and a completely different approach to fitness and training and rehabilitation and things. I could tell that this is what I needed, just the guidance of someone that knows what they're doing and in this department, and just to step away and remove myself as a trainer, and stick to your plan. So and then every session after that, I gained value every single time. Like every session we did, I could see what was helping, so I've known in every session that it's helping, if that makes sense. So
yeah. And was there any standout moments for you over 12, essentially 12 hours?
The running, the running on the treadmill. I had 100% accepted that I will never run again because I'd tried many times in many different circumstances, and it wasn't happening. And I was told from the get-go when I very first snapped it by the South American doctors, mate, you'll never run again. This is a mess. So that was probably the absolute highlight. I nearly cried at the time because it was it was that emotional for me.
The first one we did in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was 30 seconds. It wasn't the most majestic run ever, but
you thought it was.
Yeah, but it felt absolutely glorious. And since then, I've run a bunch of times since, and it's my cardio that's letting me down, not my ankle. So that was a massive highlight. That was a big deal for me. Yeah.
And what's life like now? So we've gone into that sudden decision where you fell and everything changed. How that sort of affected your approach to training, and you were just, I can never do this again, and that's okay.
Yeah,
but it wasn't okay. So what's your headspace now? What's the goals?
So it's. I guess I've just got. I didn't realize that I was losing my quality of life. I'm quite an optimistic person. I just get on with stuff. Whether I'm in pain or not, I sort of just crack on. But in the back of my mind, I was, I guess, subconsciously not doing things, or even consciously not doing things because of the pain that I was going to be in at the time or afterwards or whatever. You know what I mean? So things like going out for a round of golf. If I had a big day in work the next day, there's no way I'd do that because I'd know that my leg was going to blow out and it was going to cause me grief all day the next day. So little things like that, which I didn't think were a big deal at the time, now I don't really consider because it's I know it's going to be fine. So I don't need to think about that anymore, which is, again, it's just a massive boost in my quality of life. I'm not consciously thinking, oh no, my ankle's going to be bad after that, or I can't do that, so. I
think a lot of our initial conversation was, on my end, anger at how dare someone tell you can never do stuff again.
Yeah.
Considering you're over 100 kilos, you train 6 times a week for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Of course you can. And you were so scared, I think it's fair to say, at the start on, this is going to break, it's going to snap, my leg's going to fall off. And like,
absolutely.
Good. It's chill. And it's that confidence in yourself to do what you enjoy.
Yeah.
And now all the messages I'm getting from you are completely un-ankle related. It's my legs are sore from leg day. It's I'm going golfing with some friends, or I'm going out for some pints with some mates.
Yeah.
And I don't remember you being in that situation 3 months ago.
No.
It was, I've got a surgeon consultation in 3 months.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. That was your life.
Yeah.
And for me, looking in, that seems to be the biggest change.
Yeah. Psychologically, I think you've just opened doors for me and just changed my whole thinking around things. Like, I keep telling myself I'm shit at this, or my legs shit at this and that, but you're saying no, it is what it is right now. Like, we're working with what we've got right now, and that's been a huge game changer for me. Whereas before I'd be like, oh no, I'm not even going to bother with that because of my leg, or I can't, or I won't, or whatever. Whereas now I'm more than happy to try things, and like, I can see improvement day on day, week on week through what we've done. So
because we're running up to 1 kilometre now, just slowly, out of breath at the end of it, but we're getting there. We're jumping.
Yep.
We're golfing for at least 15 holes, feeling pretty good.
Yep.
Up and down. So what's next? And on top of that, what did you want when you started the 12? So as a roll of the dice, every session felt better. How did you want to feel right now? And then from there,
to be honest, I thought it was going to take 12 sessions to even get to the running point.
Okay.
Like, that I would have been happy with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or even if, you had me fast walking and with a plan to get to run in late, like that was my sort of expectation, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect to run in like the 4th week or whatever it was. Like, that to me was madness. And even the way that you did that, and like not telling me, building up to it, and just telling me on the spot, and like, again, that worked with my psychology, because otherwise I would have freaked out and probably tried to come up with an excuse as to why I didn't want to do it, or what, you know what I mean? So, and then what was the other part of the question?
Next?
What's next?
18 rounds of golf, obviously. 18 holes.
Yeah, so I mean that's doable. I played the full 18, and I'd already been on my feet for 8-9 hours before that round of golf anyway. I went straight from work, so I mean that's a long day, regardless, on your feet. So that's fine. Yeah, I do want to play a lot of golf over the summer without having to worry about it. But also, I miss competing, like whether that be on the rugby field, or in like a CrossFit style environment, or something where I can actually sign up to or even like a half marathon or something like that. Just something where I can sign up. There's a goal and a date, and I can train towards it and compete with other people. I guess, like even Tough Mudder or something like that. You know what I mean? Just I want to be able to do things like that again. I did a lot of it when I lived in Australia, and I did for fun, but really underneath, I was competitively doing it, and I thoroughly enjoy stuff like that. Again, accepted that I would never do anything like that ever again, and now it's all on the table. So I'm like, well, you asked me what I want to do next. I'm like, I don't know, man. The world is my oyster. I've got, there's so many options on the table now. So,
and do you feel you can?
Yeah.
At what point did you feel you can?
I'm constantly telling myself I can.
Okay.
So, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, would you be looking to compete in like a High Rocks event in the next by the end of the year? No, I would have, because I can't run 1,000 meters.
Yeah,
I can run 1,000 meters. I just ran 1,000 meters last week. So, it's again, a lot of it is psychological. I'm trying to break down 7-8 years of barriers that I created for myself, or I've had created by other people. So yeah, I'm just excited, I guess. I'm excited about training again. I'm excited about like life again. I don't have this just lingering cloud of I am not my injury anymore, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think it was such a huge part of my life that I just identified as that.
But you're injured Blair.
Yeah.
And now you're King Blair.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly it. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So,
is there anything else you'd like to say?
Thank you. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, like you were so persistent in wanting to help me, I guess, is that, like you said, you were just, I guess, annoyed and frustrated that how dare someone or people tell me that when you knew better than I knew that I was capable of more, I guess. Like, so yeah, thank you is the main thing that I want to say.
And what would you say to someone who's heard this and thought, oh yeah, but that's only an ankle, I've got a bad knee, or I'm a coach, or they're on the fence about it? What would be your... Like, how could I have got you to sign up 2 weeks earlier?
Oh well, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess for myself, I'm a stubborn guy, and as a PT as well, I was, there was always that level of like, I don't know how much you're going to be able to tell me, but I don't think there's anything you could have. I needed to make that decision. I couldn't be forced into it, but I do regret not making it sooner, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I had the surgery to get all the metalwork removed from my leg. I don't know how much we could have done before that. Yeah. So the timing of it all worked out quite well, I think. But yeah, I wholeheartedly stand by my decision to start working with you. It was the best thing I ever did. Like, even my partner Vic is saying like how much happier I seem and just how much more life I've got in me.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Di.
No worries. Thank you.
What? Anything else? Do you want to take any photos of it or anything while it's out?